Hey there, and thanks for joining me on this tutorial of Photoshop Elements 10. You just open your program and then you will go to File and Open and select the images that you want to import or work with. And so, pretty basic over here, first off, is the tool palette. And you have your different tools that you will be using at any other, time, depending on what tool that you want to work with. You only work with one tool at a time, and it must be selected over here in the tool palette. Once you have it selected, then you would be able to work with it, and here are the different functions within that effect. Now I can keep that or I can delete it, but I want to cancel that. And I want to go to my text tool. So you would just drag open a space, and then once again up here are some options for you. If you want to commit this, I think you can hit enter, but then you can also hit check for yes or no if you wanted to change something. If you want to change your font, you could do that over here, but you have to be highlighted on your text. And then when you're happy with that, you could just select it. And then you can change your font over here, the size of it. If you don't like the size it is, you can make bigger sizes. Squeeze it down, commit it. If you're wanting to change something, you can just go into this window and see if there's, different things, effects. Maybe you could just play around with it. So what just happened there is I was not on the proper layer. And what layers mean are just the different things that you have stacked on top of your background image. If you want to start manipulating your background image, the best bet is to right-click on it and duplicate the layer. And then you can see that right here, it indicates the layer visibility. So if you don't see that, then you do not see that layer. Like up here, Colorado, I'm clicked on it. If I turn the eye off, then it's not visible. Okay, so I'm going to go to this background copy. And the way it works is Colorado is up on top. If you were to drag this layer down behind the background copy, it would go away. Well, that's because it's on top. If you were to drop down the opacity of it, you can see it. But you could just also drag it back up on top, and then it's visible once again. So now I'm going to click on my background copy and drag my effect on it. And I definitely don't like that, but you can just play around with different things. So I'm going to undo that, and it's Control Z or Apple Z. And then here's some other, effects that you could use. I don't really know. I mean, maybe blur. Sometimes I'll do like a little blur or something. on an image, like maybe you can, so let's say you wanted to make it look like the background was blurry. So I'm going to just duplicate this layer again, and I'm going to drag that up on top. I'm going to make it visible. I'm going to turn that off. Actually, no, I'm going to turn that around, and you can see that it's blurry. And then I'm going to go to my eraser tool, and I'm going to make my brush size, you know, really big. Not that big. Not that small. Okay, and then I'm just going to see how I'm going over this spot, and it's making it clear now. So, but you could do just the opposite. Maybe you had a table and you want, you know, just the flowers up front to be blurry, or just the background to be blurry. Kind of like maybe you just didn't do it, you know, when you were taking the photo. So let's say I don't like that. I can just drag it down into the garbage, throw it away, and then you can start over again. And that's the good thing about having the background copy. Okay, so down here you can also do some effects that just will take on the image. So you can do the brightness and contrast and change that around. And then it's linked into like the photo, into the image. I don't really know how to explain it to you, so I do apologize. But just know that you can go down here and that you can affect, you know, all these things that you would really need to do probably to correct your images, just basic corrections. And know that you can take it off or drag it down there and delete it. The next thing we can go over is, let's say that you want to kind of cut something out. What I would suggest is clicking on this tool, quick selection tool, and then just kind of go over the little spot that you want. And you can right click on it and say layer via copy. And then if I was to deselect that bottom layer, then I just see my new layer. So let's say that we've done that. And then we've made, you know, we want to change a few things because we made some mistakes and have some rough edges. So you go onto the eraser tool, make sure you're on your appropriate layer, make sure your brush size is not too big, and you may have to zoom in, and then you may have to change, you know, different, the level of your eraser. And so you get the idea there. So then what I'm going to do is go back onto this image. Down here in my project bin, I have created this image. Oops. So I just made a mistake because I am on the eraser tool and not this move tool that I wanted to be, but I have to Control Z and undo that. Now from here, I just literally drag it on there. So you would create, you would have your logo or whatever it may be, and then you could just drag it right on here. And then you can stretch and adjust the size this way. All right, and so then that's selected, and that really is, I think, about it. So now what you need to do is flatten down your image. So I flattened down my image, and of course I could play with this all day and, you know, do some fine details, but that's in a more advanced tutorial for sure. So down here in the undo, you go to window, and underneath undo history you have it checked, and then you can go through and then see the layers that you've what the things you've already done, the changes, and then you can go back. If you've made a mistake or if you didn't even remember what you did, then you can go back through here and modify it. But if you were to click up here, know that you have to start over from here. You can't just take something away. So I had flattened my image and then I had gone to my image size. So now what you want to do, what I do is I just say save as and I'll make it a JPEG. Oh, and it says that there's layers. So right here you can see that I must go back in because I've created something happened here where it's not letting me, so I just need to say flatten image again. I can't explain why this stuff happens, it just does, but you just know, you just keep on trucking until it gets finished. So just save that, and here you could scale it down if you needed to for if it's not taking it somewhere. Here's 940K. Here's 581K. Most programs nowadays, though, it just accept most of my files and resize them down. I never really have to resize them anymore. A lot of it back in the day, you had to resize it a lot. Maybe for your website, you would have to resize it, and if so, then just find that out and figure, what would be fitting in there. So hopefully this works for you, and you can get posting some things up. So hopefully I will get some comments and some subscriptions. So thank you. Bye.